Hetherington, and I'm here at BrickCon 2018 here in Seattle, and this is one of my more recent builds. It's called Sunday Afternoon Tea Train to Tetley, and it's basically a narrow gauge railroad, and it was inspired by an English artist named Roland Emmett, who had actually worked on the Chitty Chitty Bang Bang movie, and he's kind of famous for doing these very whimsical creations, and they all have motion. And this is kind of inspired by one of his comics, and in the comic, it had these waiters coming down the side of a train delivering tea, and there's an old World War I soup kitchen tacked onto the back, so that it's kind of like fly by the seat of your pants. And I just thought the image was really cute, so I built the train first, and then I decided to make the scene around it to kind of flesh it out a bit. So I added in some Alice in Wonderland passengers waiting for the tea train to take them on their Sunday afternoon, tea in the countryside. And basically it was really just to make a kind of a fun architectural station. There's a ticket collector there. I don't know what else. The stonework is just slope bricks and 1x2 bricks laid on their side with 3 different colors.
You just kind of laid all those in there, and just whatever pattern it created worked pretty well?
Yeah, exactly. It's just very random.
Okay.
The only downside is you can't really attach objects to it. So everything's just sitting on top. There's a couple Scala dogs from the Scala line that... a lot of people, a lot of newcomers are like, that's not Lego. I'm like, yeah, it is.
They did some weird things.
Yeah, exactly. And then the water tower looks like a teapot, and it's got a T for Tetley, and there's a little Tetley sign next to the station. It's just about having fun and playing off the tea theme there. Yeah, and there's also a cuckoo clock up on top of the station, which Roland Emmett is famous for making Cloud Cuckoo Land, which I think the Lego movie probably took some inspiration.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, I'm guessing.
It's the same name, you would think so.
Exactly. Yeah.
Awesome. And then, the building itself there, how did that come together for you?
Just trying to come up with a color palette or color scheme that kind of worked. It's kind of Bavarian looking. I just wanted to build like sort of a big dollhousey looking structure and make it look as cute as possible. Basically, I made it up. It's not based on a real building.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's got little croissants over the windows, and probably the most interesting part for me was trying to figure out the right color scheme for the roof. And I used the dark red and old dark gray. Okay. Yeah, I kind of made a pattern with that.
And then the kind of rundown chimney look is very nice as well.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, that's that's kind of based on like all the current castle designers, right? They all use that really all the little tiny pieces to make it up. Yeah.
And then the big giant tree certainly catches your attention here as well.
Right, yeah, the tree it's a bit of a challenge. I'm not like the most experienced tree builder, so doing it on that scale took a bit of work, and it's quite fragile. It's got a few different colors in it just to give it some shape. The layout just wouldn't have looked right without something kind of large in that corner to balance it. Mm-hmm. And then there's like a bunny rabbit, and there's a cat looking up at the bird's nest in the tree. And just lots of flowers, and a litter can because it's England, and some milk jugs, and basically just had fun putting in all sorts of whimsical details.
For sure. And then the train design itself is very nice. So how did that come together for you?
I looked at some cartoon trains. I wanted a cartoony look, so that's why they're not a real proportion. Right. They're kind of like a whimsical cartoon proportion. Because I always wanted to make a cartoon train, and I started with the red locomotive first to sort of set the scale for the figures, because they're larger than Miniland. Their heads are like three studs wide. So yeah, I had a bit of fun coming up with the faces on them. Quite happy with how some of the ladies' faces inside the train carriage turned out. I gave them all these cool hats and fascinator type hats. Yeah, and I'm really just playing around with the different color scheme. Sand green and a little bit of brown and gold accents.
No, it works really well. So then when you brought this to a show, what's set up like for this? You've got all those parts dumped in there and everything. So how does it kind of come together?
Yeah, I realized I thought probably more than 50% of those tiles and slopes and stuff would lay flat when you poured them out on a bag. Turns out maybe 20% lie flat, and the rest you have to spend a lot of time putting them on their side. Yeah. So yeah, the setup on this one's a little bit tricky, mainly because of that. The building lifts off, the tree lifts off, and there's just a bunch of, the flowers, of course, always want to pop off the studs because they're made with that more flexible plastic.
Right. So everything's always wanting to come off.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, it all comes together to make hopefully a whimsical, fun scene.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and this is a great style, like you said, a little bit bigger than Miniland and all of that. So is this something you want to pursue more of in the future?
I'm always building different stuff. Yeah, so I try not to repeat myself. Okay. I did the mouse guard building, which was on a book. It was like a sculpture. So that was like the first building, and I had so much fun doing that. I think it's probably part of the inspiration for doing the train station building, now that I think about it. So I'll probably dabble in this scale again, because you can get quite a level of realism into it. And yeah, it's a satisfying scale to look at and, try and flesh out.
Yeah, it really is. And like you said, that whimsical look I think is achieved really nicely at this scale. So thanks so much for bringing it to the show. It's really nice. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks so much.